Oh, okay. So you're going on sites where you're like video connecting with strangers?
Yes, I'm video connecting to them. I'm like talking with them, but then I don't do anything on the video. I get their Snapchats and then I go and like start texting them on there.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato. I'm Greg Dybec. For anyone out there that would like to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com. Today, we're speaking to a woman who is addicted to cheating on her fiance. And she says that it has never been physical, but it's online and it's sexting. And it's something that she hasn't been able to stop doing. So we're going to understand why she's doing this. And we've got the guest on the line. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. How long have you been with your fiance?
It's been 2 years now.
Okay. 2 years engaged or 2 years since you've known each other?
2 years since we've known each other. We've been engaged about 3 months.
Okay. Can you just, I guess, describe him briefly and your relationship with him?
Yeah, sure. So, for a little bit of context, I just turned 22, and I was 20 when I met him, and he was 31. So there's a pretty significant age gap already there. But and then when we met, it was at a bar, and there was like a singles event there. We hit it off. We started talking, and we discovered that both of our families came from very similar religious backgrounds, and I think because of that, both of our parents didn't really have an issue with the age gap, which honestly, that was a thing that like really held me back for a little while as far as like going further with him, because I kind of expected my parents to be a little bit more cautious for me, a little bit more protective of me, which that's how they normally are. But yeah, they were pretty much just like, oh, he's Christian, so it doesn't matter. And that really like set me off a little bit. But afterwards we kind of worked through that, and and so we continue dating. We are also long distance, which is also a pretty significant part of this. Yeah, it's definitely one of the aspects that kind of I justify in my head as to why I continue doing what I do.
Is it super long distance? Like, do you get to see each other?
Well, we are in the same country, but he's like 3 hours ahead of me. So.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. And you know, this whole thing with like, you know, you say you're I guess addicted to this. Is it something that you were doing before you had met him?
So it's complicated because like before him, I didn't really have too many significant relationships. However, actually, no, just kidding. I do. There was one that I had, right before him, where I was with the guy for a year. We were committed. I wasn't doing this at all. And then I found out throughout that year he had been cheating on me with another person. And like we had been together for a year, and at that point, by the time I was about to break up with him, he was with her for like 8 months, and he actually also got her pregnant. And the way I found out was because I was on his Instagram and I clicked on his tagged posts, and I saw that he was tagged in an ultrasound.
Oh,
so that was fun. And I think because of that, I think I realized like how fragile relationships could be, and yeah, definitely how easy it could be to get away with cheating. He definitely proved that to me. So yeah, I guess that's where it started. And then afterwards, I had the unfortunate circumstance where I got roofied and raped at a party. And so then after that, I kind of just spiraled out of control. Then that was when I got into drugs, drinking, just sleeping with random people, getting into like flings, relationships, whatever, cheating on people. Like it was a really dark time in my life. So.
Wow. That just kind of stemmed from, I guess, the lack of trust that you probably had with
pretty much
monogamous relationships at that point?
I was just like, yeah, fuck men, don't trust them. I'm gonna just, in my head, I think it was also a bit of like, I'm doing good in that, like, I'm basically treating these men like trash because they don't deserve to be treated well, because most of the men in my life did not treat me well. So
Okay. So coming out of that period, you meet this man, your fiance. Obviously, there's something about him that changed your outlook, right? Like you said yes to his proposal. Is that something you confidently said yes to? Like, is this a person that you look forward to spending the rest of your life with?
Honestly, yeah, it was. I think, yeah, by the time that the proposal happened, I was really confident in us, and by the time that we were engaged, I hadn't really done a whole lot of the cheating. There were like a couple like instances here and there where I was tempted, but I never really did it. And then, yeah, pretty much like after the proposal, then like just something happened, and then I just went right back into the cheating again.
So can you kind of describe like, you're saying like you are emotionally cheating on your fiance. You know, how do you sort of rationalize that? Like, to make that distinction of like, it's emotionally cheating. Would you never consider physically cheating? You think that's like a different level of distrust, I guess?
Oh yeah, 100%. No, I've never been into physically cheating on him. I think that would just completely change everything. No, it's all been, yeah, like I said, online. It's been sexting. It's been like finding random people and just like messing with them online. It's
Can
never.
you
I've
share
never
some
like.
of?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, can you share some of like what this is in detail? Like, who are these people? How are you finding them? And then what is the exchange between you? And like, how many people are you doing this with at once?
Sure. So it's only like one at a time. And it'll usually through I don't know if you guys remember the site Omegle. Obviously that got shut
Oh
down, but then
yeah.
there are a lot of different, sites that came out after that. And so then like I would go on there and I would find people who
Wait,
were
that's video, right?
yes.
Oh, okay. So you're going on sites where you're like video connecting with strangers?
Yes, I'm video connecting to them. I'm like talking with them, but then I don't do anything on the video. I get their Snapchats and then I go and like start texting them on there.
Gotcha. And how often are you doing this?
This is like, I want to say like once or okay, actually no, like more like twice a month. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think that you are sort of getting from it? I mean, using the word addicted, it feels like I've wanted to stop, but I can't.
Yeah. So the addictive part, I think it comes from, yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, the things that happened to me when I was a little bit younger. I it's kind of just going back into that mindset. I don't know if I fully healed from that trauma. And so yeah, just kind of just it's more I kind of treat it more as like a mindset, and it's a really difficult like place to kind of get out of. For me, it's um I think it's honestly a bit of a rebellion that I kind of that's like the thrill that I get out of it. I mean, like I said, my family is very religious, so is his family, and because of that, I feel like there was a lot of pressure from both sides to get married, especially young. Pretty much like I just graduated college, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna set up this wedding for you," and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I just got out of college. I need like a little bit of time to like, live a little bit and, get a job, get life experience. They're like, no, you can just be a wife now. So,
So you
yeah.
feel like you were in a way pushed into saying yes?
Yeah, in a way, which is kind of weird to say considering that, yes, like during the proposal, I did say yes, like very confidently because I knew that I was saying yes to him. But, in the back of my head, there was that, while I am saying yes to him, I'm also saying yes to my parents and our families and the pressures that they've put upon me.
Do the people you talk to know that you're engaged?
No, they don't.
So how do you go about ending those situations?
So yeah, usually it'll be just like, yeah, pretty much like the night I meet them, we like talk, we sext or whatever, and then like I don't know, it'll get to a point where like they'll talk about like how they've come, and then I'm like, okay, cool, and then I completely delete and block them.
Oh, okay. So you're like hardcore sex. Are you sending pictures and things like that?
No, it's all sex. Yeah.
Okay. So you just kind of like do this with someone, like you sext with someone, and then when it's done, you just block them forever and then eventually find someone else and then just
Pretty
kind
much,
of
yeah.
continue the cycle.
Yeah.
There's never been like a person that you've like, I guess, gone back to a few times or anything like that, like some sort of relationship with?
Honestly, no.
So, I mean, you mentioned rebellion and stuff, but like in the moment, like what is the thrill that you're getting from this, and why are you risking getting caught?
Yeah. I think I feel like this has always like been a theme in my life where I've rebelled against things. Part of it is coming from a religious background, but just in general, like doing the thing that I know is wrong. Um, I don't know. There is a thrill that comes with it. There's a guilt that comes with it, and for some reason, that guilt is like a feeling that I really attach to, and that I for some reason enjoy.
That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard that before. So, okay. So you're enjoying the feeling of guilt after you do this, knowing
I
that
do.
it's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you think your fiance would react if they found out?
Yeah. So it's tough because I know that he would obviously be upset, like anybody would be. But I I know that he would want to likely call off the wedding. However, it gets complicated when we include our parents and how invested they are in our relationship and getting married and all this stuff. So yeah, I know that he would want to, stop that. I don't know if he would want to stop the relationship. But yeah, he probably would want to hold off on the wedding, and our parents would probably like put us into like marriage counseling or something.
Do you try to like not do this anymore and be like, all right, I know this is wrong. I got to stop doing it. Or do you kind of feel like, well, it's long distance and I'm not hurting anyone, so like I'm just going to keep doing it? Like, what is your actual view of it like today?
Yeah, so right now I haven't done this in like 2 weeks or so. And it's yeah, I look back at it and I'm like, okay, like I have a lot of like random like bits of moments where I'll go, okay, I look back and that was awful. This is awful. I would hate if somebody did this to me, and now I'm doing this to somebody else who doesn't deserve it. No one deserves this. I'm a terrible person. I should stop doing this. That kind of thing. And I've definitely considered like telling him and talking through these things because yeah, like ultimately, yeah, I know that like I have to tell somebody in my life. I can't just go on a podcast and talk about it. Like it has to be somebody in my life to know. But yeah, it's just tough because there are just so many people in my life that right now that like I don't trust to tell these things to.
Does part of you, do you think, want to get caught and maybe have the wedding called off or pushed?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems that way from the short conversation we've had. I mean, why would you never try to postpone or call off the wedding yourself, or tell him that you want to stay with him but need more time?
Yeah, well, because I mean, I have in the past. I mean, it's been 2 years, and that's plenty of time for me to bring up things like, oh, I don't know if I can get married. I'm pretty young, and blah blah blah. And I've expressed this to my fiance and my parents, and they're like, no, like you're gonna be fine. It's fine. And yeah, it just feels like a lot of the people in my life kind of just brush off my concerns, and they're like, no, let's look at the bigger picture though. And they talk about like how great it'll be for me to be married and all this shit, and I'm like, that's not what I want to hear right now. So yeah.
If the wedding moves forward, if you're, say, married in, 3 months from now, would you just be able to stop this behavior, or would you continue to do it?
Oh, I know I would be able to stop it. Yeah. Once I know that like once I get married, I can switch that off real quick.
Why are you so confident in that though?
Yeah, no, because yeah, like once marriage comes into play, I know that like there is like a lot of things that I would just completely eradicate because in being married, not only am I, obviously committed to this person, but like this is a choice that I'm making, and so every choice that I make matters. And I would know to go and get help and immediately stop all of this. Um, yeah, I feel like I have very strong willpower in terms of like when I'm committed to something, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that I am completely committed to that. So
judging by, what we just said, I mean, you were just saying like, maybe a part of me is hoping to get caught and kind of postpone this wedding. So are you still able to commit to that, knowing that you're getting married even when you're not necessarily ready to get married?
yeah, that's the tough part. I'm definitely not ready to get married, and my feelings and thoughts completely go unheard. Um, and like I mentioned before, like this, it just gets really tricky, especially when we have such a significant age gap, and he is a completely different like worldview of everything. I'm sorry, I completely forgot what your original question was.
I was just saying like, you said like, once I get married, I can commit to not doing it anymore, but it sounds like you would be getting married before you're ready. So does that change anything? Like, I know the idea in your head of like, when I'm married, this is my husband and I won't do those types of things. But it also feels like you at the moment be getting married, but not ready for marriage. So does that change anything? Like, does that mean like you're not as committed to not doing this or something?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I honestly think that like nobody's really getting ready to get married. Like once it happens, it kind of just happens and you just jump into it. But yeah, obviously for me, it's a little bit more intense. I think that for me, like even if I wasn't ready and like I did end up getting married, which I hope to God not right now, but yeah, I know that in my heart that like I would stop everything that I'm doing. And I don't say it with so much as confidence as you guys would put it. It's more of just, well, I just don't want to do the wrong thing in a marriage. I don't want to do the wrong thing.
What's the difference between marriage and now? I mean, this is essentially your husband. This is as close to your husband. This will be your husband. What is so different? Is it something religious? Like you have your vows, you have your ceremony, and now like in the eyes of God, this is cheating? Is that how you're looking at it?
In a way, yes. Yeah, absolutely. There is a bit of like a religious attachment to it. I will say though, like I do not really consider myself religious. However, like with all of the pressures and the things that my family say a lot, um, yeah, it's always in the back of my head. And so like even though I don't believe in a God, I do believe that somebody's watching my every move and somebody's gonna punish me if like I continue to do the wrong thing.
I
So
have a question. Something that you keep bringing up, your parents seem to have a big grip on, I guess, your life, some of the decisions you're making, this relationship and this marriage. Why do you think that is? It seems like you feel a lot of pressure from them, and it seems like in a way you're sort of doing what they ask of you, even if you disagree with it.
yeah. I think it's tough because like my parents never really let me be independent growing up. And the only time that I really got to be independent was in college, where a lot of bad shit happened to me. And in a way that sort of reinforced the idea that that like in my head, I can't be independent. I need somebody or my parents or somebody to be like some sort of authoritative figure in my life, like helping me out, because clearly I can't be trusted enough because I was and yeah, this is messed up, but like I do blame myself a lot for getting raped, for getting cheated on, for like all these things that happened. There's certainly a lot of situations in which like I definitely do take accountability for, and I did mess up along the way. But I blame myself for a lot of bad things that have happened, and I truly have like this thing within me that like I can't be my own person, because if I am, then I'm gonna go down this wrong path.
Do you think that your fiance is definitely the man that you're going to marry?
I it's tough because I know that like he has the qualities and and he has the looks of like somebody who my parents would want me to marry, right? But when it comes to what I want, see, that's the thing. I don't actually fully confidently know exactly what I want. There's always that question of, is there somebody else out there for me? Because ultimately, like in my quote unquote confidence of like saying yes to him and in that way saying yes to my parents, it's kind of going like, yeah, I'm gonna commit to him because I know that my parents will be happy and there will be peace within my family.
Before we get back to the episode, we do have a couple of sponsors. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Men today face immense pressure. There's the pressure to perform, the pressure to provide, the pressure to be in shape, to be healthy, to have hobbies, to make friends, to have a social life. The list goes on. So it's no wonder that over 6 million men in the US suffer from depression every single year, and it often goes undiagnosed. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to struggle as a man. And I think it's important that the narrative starts to shift for men to understand that it is okay to struggle and that real strength is being able to open up about your struggles. And not just opening up about the pressures and the weight that you're carrying on a day-to-day basis, but then actually doing something about it. Because it's important for men and important for everyone to be able to be the best version of themselves, to be there for their loved ones in their life. So if you're a man and you're feeling the weight of the world, then you should talk to someone, a friend, a loved one, or a therapist. I'll be honest, when I was growing up, I do think that there was a stigma around therapy when I was younger, when I was a teenager, even when I was a young adult, especially as a man, to basically suppress feelings, to not open up, especially to a stranger or a therapist. Luckily, this is something I was able to get over. I've been in therapy for years now, and it has benefited me greatly and has taught me a ton of coping skills. It has helped me through some of really the biggest struggles in my life. And I think for men and for a lot of people, some of the biggest struggles can also come from some of the happiest moments, like getting married, now being a husband, being a father, and what that means. For me, I now have 2 children, just bought a house. There's a huge life phase and change that's coming for me. And these are incredible things and a position that I'm so happy to be able to be in. But with this comes a lot of pressure as well. And it's important for me to be able to have an outlet, not just friends and family, but also a therapist and a professional that I can speak to about all these life changes and that can help me get through these moments and just be the best version of myself, to be there for my family, but also for myself, to understand what my boundaries are, what my needs are, and how I can also best provide for the people that I love and care about. With over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, and it has served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an app, and the App Store rating is a 4.9 out of 5, and that's based on over 1.7 million client reviews. And it's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button and helping you fit therapy into your busy life, which is super important. It's convenient. You can switch therapists at any time, and it's affordable. So if going out of your way to see a therapist, if you're worried about waiting in a waiting room or the commute or anything like that has been stopping you, with BetterHelp, it's so easy for therapy to fit into your busy life. So talk it out with BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/OPL. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OPL, and you will get 10% off your first month. This episode is sponsored by Squarespace. I am a huge, huge fan of Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that is designed to help you stand out and succeed online. If you are a business owner, if you have a business that you're looking to scale, if you have a business that you're looking to start, if you have services that you're looking to promote or a brand or anything, Squarespace is the place for you. Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and even get paid all in one place. I've used Squarespace so many times over the years for different websites, whether it be products that we're selling. Most recently, I've talked about the Basement Yard. The other podcast on our network is On Tour. We built the entire website with Squarespace to be able to sell tickets to every single show. I am not a designer, but I was able to design that website, and it was super, super easy. They have amazing templates to start out. Everything's drag and drop. It's actually really fun, too, to be able to design something that looks great and is functional. So if you're ready to get started, you can head to squarespace.com/OPL, and you will save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain when you use code OPL. You will also get a free trial. So free trial to try out all the features, build a website, and when you're ready to launch, that's when you can use that offer code OPL to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Take advantage of all the tools they have. They have cutting edge design, those templates I told you about, Squarespace domains that are easy to get, SEO tools. You could set up donations, put product features, you could put video. It's really incredible. See for yourself. You will get that free trial. And then when you are ready to launch, that's squarespace.com/OPL, promo code OPL, and you will get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Now back to the show. I don't disagree with what you said before about maybe nobody exactly feels ready for a marriage. Like, I think there's big milestones and steps in life, whether it's marriage, maybe having children, where it's hard to wrap your head around to feel like you're at 100% at that stage in your life. Or maybe there's just a disbelief sometimes. Like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm going to get married. You might always have thoughts of, am I ready? Should I wait? But I think there is definitely a level of certainty going into those situations, even if it's not 100%, that you are very far away from. Like, I think that it's interesting to hear this because I just met you, and I say this respectfully, but it seems like you are very not ready to get married and that you are unsure if this is the right person. And are you worried that if you go through with this, if you continue kind of appeasing your parents in this way and going through with this relationship, that you will be extremely unhappy in the long run?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But why are you willing to accept that?
I guess there's a part of me that feels like I don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
Do you actually believe that?
Yeah, I do.
So I mean, that's very sad to hear, but you feel like I will go through with this marriage to keep my parents happy, to keep your fiance happy, but you're pretty much saying I won't be. And not only will you not be, but seemingly you may be engaging in behavior that will possibly make you feel worse.
Yeah. And I think that's also part of why I do it. Yeah. Because I don't. Yeah. Which is why I said before that I enjoy the feeling of guilt because, or at least I've kind of convinced myself in my head that I do enjoy that because there are a lot there. I mean, I guess I'll go into a little bit of this too. Like in my life, in periods of time where I've felt happy and, unfortunately there are a lot of situations where like that got stripped away from me, or I felt that like I wasn't allowed to be happy because something bad would happen. Then that kind of created this thing in my head that, well, maybe I don't deserve to be happy. Maybe I can't be happy. Maybe if I want to live this life, I can't actually be happy. I just have to continue to serve others.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anything you're saying is uncommon. I think a lot of people find themselves in this situation. I think that there's also a level of like, knowing some people and understanding like self-sabotaging behavior to a degree. It's when you feel like so much of your life is not in your control and that it's just likely to go bad anyway, that sort of self-destruction is almost control in a way. It's like, well, I am
going to be behind my own demise, like, and it's interesting because this is so much not even about the cheating aspect anymore as we get deeper into the conversation, but it's like to see why that behavior exists. And I think you've done thank you for being so honest and transparent about that. Like, it's interesting. You obviously have self-awareness around this whole situation. It's just something you're still choosing to do. And, clearly like that type of behavior is like, well, maybe I will get caught. And if I get caught, then okay, it doesn't matter. Like if I'm going to end up potentially unhappy anyway, like it could be because I don't get caught and end up getting married, or maybe it's because I get caught. But also maybe if I get caught, it ends this wedding and is actually an escape route that you're not willing to present that option yourself, but maybe that's sort of like a backdoor way to make that happen.
Yeah, in a way, which, like you said, I'm very self-aware. This is fucked up. What I'm doing is wrong as fuck. I feel awful about it, especially in regards to, my fiance and all that. He's just like, it's tough too, because like I said, the age gap thing, it was a thing that I had a lot of concerns about, and it was even more concerning that our parents didn't have a concern over it, and they really encouraged it, actually. And
it sounds like you wanted them to step in almost and say, this shouldn't happen, or this should take more time.
I absolutely did. Yeah. And so then when they were like, no, this is actually awesome, I was like, okay, am I crazy? What's going on? And I think that's another part of my story too, is I have a lot of difficulty with trusting my own judgment on a lot of things. As you guys can probably tell. When it came to this whole situation, like even just like starting to talk to him, I was like going to my parents like, okay, what do I do? Like, is this a good thing? Should I pursue this? Like, this guy's way older. Are we sure about this? And they're like, no, you should totally do it.
Do you think that there's any part of you that thinks that you'll have the ability one day to be like, I can't do this and I'm not happy in this relationship, and I also just want to be my own person. I can't live according to my parents because it doesn't feel natural to me. And you kind of just have to make that leap and just kind of leave your old life behind.
See, it's complicated because the only natural thing in my life, like being on my own and doing my own thing, feels like the unnatural thing to me. Like abiding by my parents, yes, like while in, any, like in this culture especially, is like, that's not good. You're not going to be independent, all these things. I feel like because of like the lack of confidence I have within myself to be my own person, it feels way scarier to go and try to be my own person and call everything off and all this stuff, and honestly easier to just go along with what everything else is going on.
It's interesting because before you did say confidently that you'd be able to stop cheating, you said that you're someone with a lot of willpower, but it feels like the opposite in some of these huge life decisions. But if you do believe that about yourself, is that something you would ever work toward? Like, would you ever seek out help or therapy or something that could help give you the ability to find your voice in this situation and really voice your needs and start, kind of going down your own path, like Joe said?
Yeah, I think so. I'm aware of the hypocrisy in my statement there. I think the willpower for me, it's not a willpower that comes from within myself. It has to be from other people. So like I know, which is part of why there is a part of me that wants to get caught and wants all this to eventually fall apart, and then I would, and then somebody else encourage me to go and get that help. It's difficult for me to say if like I would do that on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, because I don't think that I deserve to be happy and I don't deserve to be my own person, then there's no reason for me to want to be better other than for other people.
Yeah, that's a very difficult position to be in. So I guess, I know that you said that earlier, you're kind of like hopeful that this gets pushed in some sort of way, but I mean, if everything is kind of going the way that it is, how do you think you're going to feel on your wedding day?
Yeah, I have a feeling that when the wedding day comes, I might just leave him at the altar. Like that like I that's definitely been a thought that's crossed my mind, which is awful. Or at the very least, just like at the like before the wedding, like have a conversation with him and be like, hey, this doesn't feel right. I can't do this. And I would probably tell him like what I've been doing. No, actually, like, yeah, well, like, which is a very real possibility. But at the same time, like, I do know that at some point, like, I do want to have a conversation with him before any of this happens.
I mean, this does happen. Like, this is why this show is so interesting for us too, because like, so for your feel like all of this turmoil, this confusion that you have, like the people in your life have no idea, right? Your fiance, your parents, like they think that you're excited, happy, and just ready to get married. Like you are truly the only one who understands what's really going inside, right?
Yes.
Which is just like fascinating in its own right, how the people you're closest to could just not see or understand that. And then as you say that, I'm thinking like you hear these stories where a bride doesn't show up to the altar, or like, let's be real, 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? I don't even know what the rate is now. And it's like, is it this? Like, is so much of that this? Like people that you just hear stories like people that truly don't feel ready, or this feels so much more than just like a bit of uncertainty for a big step. I think we can all confidently say right now that you are not ready and that you would not want this to happen, but so many people go through with it, or they get up to that very last point where there's one last, exit off the highway. And then that is like the bride who doesn't show up to the altar, or, blows up their whole wedding, or people just end up finding their voice and their needs so much later. They could be married for 20 years. And then finally it's like, I have the ability where it's like, this is not the life that I wanted, or this was not like I did not do anything for myself in this situation. I just had to please other people. And then divorces happen. And it's, I don't know, I'm kind of just thinking out loud because it's like, it's interesting to hear your internal thoughts in this situation. And like for us listening in the audience, like we don't know how this is going to end. Like you might have a conversation and end this before and end up happier, or you might go through with it and get married and who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that interesting. And it's like, it feels like we don't know and you don't know. And it feels like on that day, anything could happen. Maybe you don't show up. Maybe that is the moment that you find a chance to say like, I am not ready and I'm taking a stand here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, while it has been a thought, I mean, I know that like that would suck for everybody, because I mean, the last thing that I would want to do is just burden people further. And so I think like, yeah, I would not want to like end everything on the wedding and just corrupt everything, especially with so many of our family like that would want to come to the wedding. I think, yeah, I would definitely feel pushed to go ahead and like talk with him before any of that.
Do you feel for him, like knowing that this could end in a way where, you do sabotage it or kind of blow it up or end it? Like, do you feel like your fiance, who could just be very much looking forward to being married with you or starting a family and, living a life together, but the fact that your feelings probably don't match his, like, do you feel like he deserves to know, or do you feel bad that he's kind of in the dark about this?
I mean, yeah, yes, I do. In that I don't think, yeah, anybody would deserve this. However, I do question his intentions. And I've questioned them from the start. And yeah, which is why again, it's weird to say that I confidently said yes, during the proposal. It's just like like when he's attempted to describe his feelings for me, it's felt quite generalized. And there are a lot of points where it feels like I don't know if he wants me to be his wife. I feel like he just wants a wife. And yeah, and that's a tough part. And then there's just also, yeah, I mean, I keep bringing it up, but the age gap, it's just there does feel like there is a bit of a power imbalance where I just, yeah, like, yeah, I don't know if like, even if I was to build up a voice, I don't know how much of that would really be heard and understood.
And do you guys have plans to like move in together or something before you get married?
No. In our religion, it's common that we don't move in together before getting married.
Got it. But do you have plans on like if you would go live there or he would come here after?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely I actually have plans to go in a couple weeks to go and spend like a solid month with him in where he is, and yeah, just spend a bit of time with him and have more conversations. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I'm ready to bring up the cheating part, or but I know that I want to bring up the uncertainty part and just how I feel about our relationship in total and our families and all of that stuff.
Do you guys have to be celibate before you get married?
Yeah.
Well, okay. That changes a lot.
Yeah.
So you guys have never had sex or been intimate?
No, we have not.
Wow. Is that something that you look forward to? And do you think that could help the relationship?
Maybe. It's scary, right? Because yeah, I have no even I don't have an inkling of like what that would look like, because I mean it's very common for a lot of like Christian couples to, at least experiment or try something like there's like the thing is like don't have sex before marriage, but like sex doesn't have to be penetrative, right? And so
the Mormons cheat all the time, right?
Yeah.
Soaking, it's like this doesn't count, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, so for me it's like, yeah, like I mean I know that I have like that, that sexual desire within me. Like I mean anybody else would, like if they don't, then they're lying to themselves. But like he's never even tried to instigate like any situation where it could lead to anything remotely sexual. Like we kiss, we hug, that's cute. There's nothing more after that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole
it
new
definitely
layer.
makes me a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit like, okay, yeah, and again, yeah, why I would, yeah, the main part is, I think, out of all of this, it's the religious upbringing, it's the fear of rebelling against that because it's all that I've known, it's all that he's known. Our parents are getting along super well, and so there's like a fear of like, disrupting that family peace, all these things. There's so many, oh God, there's so many elements to this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sounds very difficult. I mean, on top of even if the cheating wasn't going on, I mean, being in a long distance relationship that you feel like you're unhappy and it's keeping families, super happy. Everyone loves it, and you're kind of feeling a certain way, and you feel by yourself, like all of that, and a long distance and zero sexual aspect in your relationship, like. Sounds very tough to deal with.
And the trauma of your past relationships
too. Like there's a lot of, factors here. And, I think you're kind of approaching it in a way that might be best, when you're spending that month with him, then having conversations and voicing the fact that you feel a little uncertain. And if you, want to throw in the fact that I also have some stuff to confess here too. So let's see how we feel about that. But yeah, I guess just like sort of voicing those concerns as well, and just saying, I feel like it's a little strange that it almost feels like you don't have a sexual attraction to me or something, or a desire at all. And we're soon going to be married. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. You have a lot of like difficult conversations to have with a couple of people, I guess.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Wow.
No, like Joe said, there's so many layers here, and it's like, this is so interesting. I feel like it's one of the few episodes where the topic that was sort of the lead in here and what we really thought we were going to be talking about was really just the tip of the iceberg, and ended up uncovering so much more. And we can really just only thank you for, you know, the honesty, and like, we understand this, this isn't something you're reflecting on. This is something that you're living through right now. And I stand by what I said before, that just whether it's the religious aspect involved or not, or just marriage, relationships in general, sure that a lot of people can relate to certain uncertainties with such a big life decision. And it's easier said than done, you know, in those situations, kind of finding your voice, stepping up, communicating in the proper way. So I think that there's a lot of people that can relate to a lot of what you said. And for us, I think, you know, we can just wish you the best of luck. And also easy for us to say, but like, we hope that, I think we just hope that communication can kind of set you free in a way, or be able to maybe open a new part of your relationship with your fiance if you're able to voice these things, or even with your parents. You know, you said you felt like you would kind of need someone else to encourage you. So I don't know if we count for anything, but like, I think we do, like, we would encourage you. You know, we just, we wouldn't want anyone to end up unhappy, and not sure exactly what the path looks like for you, but we hope that you can get to a place, you know, in your relationship or not, where, you know, you feel like you're in a little bit more control, and that you feel like you do deserve happiness, I think, above all.
Yeah, thank you. And that was also part of like why I wanted to reach out. I mean, yeah, like obviously like what you guys do on your platform is incredible, and you guys are able to, yeah, like I said, like in my email, like there's a healing process with, you know, not just your listeners, but also like the people that come on your show to talk about their experiences. And for me, yeah, I mean, thank you guys for listening to my story, and thank you for all your guiding questions, because those definitely like really got me like turning my wheels and going like, yeah, no, I've been thinking about talking about this for a very long time, and I never got to do that. Like, and like I said, nobody in my life knows about this. My fiance, my family, nobody. And yeah, and now, well, I guess everyone's gonna know, but yeah, but no, but this was definitely like the push that I needed, because yeah, like I mean, like, I'm sure anybody can relate, you know, when you have something that like you've been holding on to for so long, you've never felt safe to talk to anybody about it. And then an opportunity arises where you can, then once you finally say everything out loud, then it just, everything kind of starts to fall into place a little bit more. It makes more sense. You can kind of lay out like almost visually like what it is that you need to do. And yeah, I know for a fact that like this month that I'm going to be spending with them, I'm going to have these like really intense conversations with them. And I don't know like how we're going to work it out, what that's going to look like, but it's definitely going to be a lot better than whatever the fuck's going on right now. So thank you guys.
Yeah, that's for sure. We appreciate you coming on and being so honest and telling us your story. Cause I mean, like Greg said earlier, this is probably more common than you think, where, you know, people feel the same sort of pressures that you have, you know, and you have a couple of them, but like, I think that some people like feel, you know, pressure from their parents, or, you know, there's past traumas and past relationships that kind of dictate behavior that they feel bad about or something like that. So I think this will help a lot of people also. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We, you know, wish you luck with everything as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, cool. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. That's so rough, man. Being in that position, you know, I mean, it's hard for me to relate to stuff with like religion, because my parents weren't very religious. We would go to church and stuff, so there was aspects of it in there, so I can kind of like see it a little bit. I didn't grow up Christian. That feels like a way more serious version of Catholic. I don't know how the religion hierarchy works, but like when something like that is how you grow up, and, you know, the way that she's talking about, you know, our parents are very on top of that, and they want us to marry a Christian. I imagine in you know, Jewish people are sort of the same way. I've heard that, where Jewish people, they want you to marry a Jewish person, and, you know, stuff like that for religious reasons. I've never had that type of
pressure, and that on top of everything else too.
Yeah, where that's like the norm, where that kind of parental involvement is the norm. And I think it's, I'm sure it works for a lot of people, and then it doesn't work for some people like her. She also clearly was raised this way, but it doesn't, she said herself isn't super religious or practicing maybe even as much as her fiance, definitely not as much as her parents. So that's tough, because then you're kind of in this in-between world where it's what you know, it's how you're raised. So it's like values that were instilled, but you're not really living your life that way, but you're still trying to honor that. And now you're just in this in-between that has to just be so hard to manage, and, I think easy to spiral. And I think there's just, regardless of religion or not, I think one thing that I really took from this, because we talk about finding your voice, we talk about communication, like communication can just heal so many things or help avoid so many situations. But there is such a pressure amongst a lot of people, like the pressure to not disappoint, to you then start living your life for other people. It's so hard to say no. It's so hard to, shake things up, or if other people are happy, just that kind of blanket pressure to disappoint, I think is that's so much harder to navigate than people realize.
Not only that, but this girl's 22 years old, man. That's very young. And I think if you grow up in this is me speculating, but if you grow up in a religious household that maybe is a little strict or whatever, there's way less of an opportunity to kind of find yourself in an environment like that, because you are expected to be sort of regimented, and these are the things that you do, these are the things that you can't do. And, there's just more rules in that way. And it feels like, I know that she said, I'm not the type of person that I don't trust my intuition or my individuality in any sort of way. I almost feel more comfortable to have my parents and whatever. But I think everything else around her saying that feels like a person who's struggling with the fact of I actually think I need more control over my life, but I'm so used to this, so that makes me feel safe. Mm-hmm. But all of my actions are pointing to I need to do shit for me, and unfortunately she's in this vicious circle where she's trying to appease other people and also appease herself in a way where she feels like this religion thing is good. And my parents, they're good people. So if I keep them happy, this is a good guy. I should want to be with him. I should want my parents to be happy. So everything that I'm sort of feeling internally is now bad. And now I'm doing this thing, I'm doing this emotionally cheating thing, and I can acknowledge that it's bad, but it feels good to not be in this box here, because that doesn't feel right to me.
You literally
but I should
can't
be in there.
do both. It's impossible to do both.
Yeah.
If you are fully standing up for yourself, making decisions for yourself, following your wants and desires, that you can't please everyone else in your life, especially if it's people who feel like they have a hand in your life, your direction, and your decision making. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's no way not for her not to feel the struggle that she's feeling right now. But
I think you can't live for other people. You have to your parents and your family, your environment, whatever all of those things are factors. But at the end of the day, there's a part of you that is just you. And you can't mute that, because that will eventually make its way out. And I think that's why you brought up earlier, 50% of marriages and all this stuff is because people get married for a number of reasons. It's oh, well, things are not going really well, but what the hell am I going to do? I'm too old to go anywhere else. And then you're just kind of signing up for, being upset and not, now you're doing this thing that's supposed to be the happiest day of your life or whatever. And it feels oh, it's definitely not and I'm just doing
imagine
it because,
how that eats away at you over time,
yeah,
to the point that you either break or you don't. And if you break, then maybe that's I'm done with this marriage. Now we have kids, now we have whatever. Or hey, maybe she won't show up to the altar one day. Runaway bride.
I don't know. Very difficult position here.
It's crazy, but it was interesting to hear what she said at the end too. And yeah, I think we can appreciate that. I mean, I feel like there's an important episode to also state, as you guys know, we're not therapists, we're not psychiatrists.
Yeah, no.
We have no degrees in psychology. We are here to listen. And like she said, I think we've developed a skill to ask guiding questions, I hope, and not be judgmental in these scenarios.
So it's cool to hear that it can be cathartic for someone, even if it's as simple as like, here's two people who are going to listen so that you can kind of say the things that you've never said out loud. But if that truly did inspire her in a month to go have those conversations with her fiance, then that's cool.
That'd be amazing. Wish her the best of luck. Wish the dude the best of luck too. I mean, hate to see that happening to somebody.
Right.
But, anyway, for anyone out there who'd like to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to reach out. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us an email and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, we're always reading them. We're always reaching out. If you're an old-time listener of the show, we used to do seasons and then take big breaks. We're not doing that anymore. New episode every 2 weeks, I guess, for the rest of time. So send that email if you're curious about potentially being a guest. You could follow us on social at OPL Podcast. Can engage with us there, post a bunch of clips, talk to some other fans. That is all.
See you guys next time.